I feel like they could give red way more damage. For a plate user, it's one of the squishiest plate DPSers in the game. And you're essentially, if you're gonna be that squishy, you're essentially forsaking your training in the defensive arts of the paladin to enact vengeance and retribution on your enemies, right? That kind of concept implies a forsaken intent on protecting yourself. So maybe a red makes sense to be squishy, but have it deal more damage, man. If I'm soloing on my red pal, I feel so squishy. Yep. Take Shield of Vengeance off GCD. That would help, but that's still like one thing, right? And that's not particularly amazing. It needs a little bit more. It needs... I don't know what it could need. I mean, if you think about Fury Warrior has a lot of sustain. And Fury Warrior doesn't have to sacrifice damage for sustain. Maybe make Word of Glory not consume Holy Power, but maybe have a cooldown, right? Maybe that would help. Have like a 20-second cooldown. And it doesn't consume Holy... Because if you have to sacrifice damage for your healing, that's a little bit weird. Or again... You can add Seals of Light, right? Wasn't that? Or Judgment of Light that Holy Paladin has. Have that style mechanic for red to make it a little bit more tanky. I don't feel near as squishy as my Frost DK. I can solo most of the rares as on my reds. I don't agree. I guess it depends because DK is one of the tankiest specs in the game. The defensive toolkit that a DK has is nowhere close to what a red has. Not to mention you still have Death Strike, which is arguably better than Word of Glory, because I guess it depends on the instance, because if you're getting smacked by a big hit, Death Strike is going to be way better to heal your HP up. Not to mention as far as Frost Decay goes, your runic power is not that important for your damage dealing. It does damage, sure, but it's not like sacrificing 3 Holy Power to hit a Divine Storm or you know, what's it called? Templar Verdict. Keep Wog the same, but add a little AoE damage to it. That's interesting. You can pop Wog on you and have like a little burst of holy damage around you. Like how the is the talent still there? Let's see if the talent is still there. Ret. This thing, right? Avenging Wrath last turn. During Avenging Wrath, each holy power spent causes you to explode. Well, now have this style mechanic baked into Word of Glory, maybe. Maybe put into a talent, right? That would be interesting. I understand wanting to level all classes to make them similar power level, but we don't want every class to play the same. I think it's a fundamental issue with how they're designing the game, right? I feel like if there would be more emphasis on utility than damage dealing, I feel like the encounters would be more interesting. Which is weird because I don't know how that would be pulled off. You can think of the fact that you can have more intermissions, meaning that it doesn't matter how much damage you do as long as you get to that intermission. So, as long as there's a timer on things, damage is always going to be important. And it's kind of hard to go away from that because that's kind of like the core essence of WoW, of PvE at the very least. For instance, Sec PvP, for instance, classes that have more utility usually perform better in PvP. I'm not a master of PvP, but to the extent that I've done up until like 2k rating, that's where I felt that's why I feel like classes like Rogue and Mage, who have some of the most utility in the game, perform so well. Sure, they have damage, and it's important to have damage, but if PvE encounters can be designed similarly to that, that could be a shift into making balance a different thing, right? In my opinion, they should give Paladin some sort of bloodlust heroism. You can also see Anduin channel the light in some of the cinematics. Why don't we have that kind of stuff? Makes sense in my opinion. I feel like they could do that in the last row where it comes to your wings, right? So one concept of red that I feel like maybe WoW isn't taking fully advantage of, that I feel like is really cool, is the Seraph concept, which it's kind of used in Seraphim, right? Is that right? Seraphim, right? This concept, where you infuse with the power of righteousness and retribution and you deal more damage. You can see, I don't know if you guys played Heroes of Might and Magic 5, but in Heroes of Might and Magic 5, you have a troop that's an angel, right? And that angel can be upgraded into an archangel, which is like the pure warrior of holy, of faith, of goodness, of righteousness, and all of that. Then you also have the seraph version, which is a concept that you might see in some RPGs, where you use the power of blood and retribution to have way more offensive power, right? That's kind of the concept that we can take, because you do see angelic themes around Red. You have wings, man. Avenging Wrath gives you fucking wings. Come on. So you can take that concept of a seraph and make like those wings bloody. You can maybe have a Seraph's Wrath, right, be on the last row of the talent tree for red, and that makes Avenging Wrath turn red. It would, you know, I don't know, make you take 5% more damage, but you deal 30% more damage, or you do some cool DPS style stuff, right, where you can just be more offensive. If we're talking about like generic stuff, if we're talking about practical stuff, it's a kind of a moot argument right now, since we are on the cusp of getting new talents, so who knows what the new talents will have Red build into. Imagine Marcelian being here and talking about Red, Jesus. I think healers should heal and not be DPSing. I actually like that concept as well. The thing is, that's never gonna happen if Mythic Plus is going to remain the same. The only way that that's gonna happen is if people's health pools become way bigger than the in you know, contrast to their damage output, right? Let's say you deal the damage that you do now, have double the HP, but lower the healing output of healers and have damage constant, where there's actually no time to deal damage. The fact of the matter is, Cable, the way that Mythic Plus is designed, and you can say that about Raid, because even if we don't have Mythic Plus, we'll still have the Raid. If killing something faster is better, then everybody's gonna look to do a little bit more damage. Everybody's gonna push into that direction. You can either, or in this case the devs, they can either make it so healers don't have time to deal damage, and that's a matter of tuning their kit and tuning the damage intake of the encounter, or they completely shift their combat design to not rely so much on killing shit faster, right? But that's it. Making these style of changes after so many years of WoW would be cool, but a lot of people would be like, what the fuck's going on? This isn't WoW. What is this anymore? Seraphim should be a cooldown but not cost holy power. Maybe that could be a thing. I love the fact that you don't have to spec Seraphim once you get here. It makes everything so much smoother. Again, goes to show how cool that style is, right?